Let's start with where we all start with a trip report. And that's once you're dispatched, now you get to the point of pickup. And the point of pickup is the location where the patient is when they're loaded on board the ambulance. And that is done by a zip code. And the reason for that is the whole country is carved into zip codes. And what Medicare did, CMS did, is they said, okay, these zip codes are urban areas, these are rural areas, these ones are super rural area, and we will reimburse based on where the transport started. And other payers follow suit. Medicaid does that, commercial payers do that. It's all about where the trip started, and that's why we're doing it. The next thing we have to worry about in documentation is fractional mileage. They used to let us round up, that went away. We now document miles and tenths. And I get asked all the time, do we have to do odometer readings? No. But, I always have a but what's irrefutable? Can't argue with it. An odometer reading. The regulations say document fractional mileage. Again, this is about getting the documentation there. An odometer reading can't be argued with, but the most important thing is document the fractional mileage. Some people do it by saying the start of the trip is 0 and the end of the trip is 5.6. There you go, you got 5.6. Just document the mileage. Nowhere in the regulations does it say you have to do odometer readings, but they can help. Most of us can't remember things. Your documentation becomes your substituted memory. And what happens is you might have transported a patient 4 years ago, and she was 86 years old, and she was Alzheimer's, and she had contractures of the lower extremities. So those are reasons why she was in your ambulance. You will not remember that she was wearing a pink nightie when you picked her up at the nursing home because that she fell out of bed. You will, however, remember by the quality of your documentation when you took vital signs, what happened, the process, that she was a 2-man sheet lift, all of that is there will tell you what happened. The pink nightie isn't important. The rest of the documentation is important. So you want it to reflect what happened and be that memory that we don't have beyond a few hours of what goes on. And once you have documentation, do you know what you want to do? You want to be proud of what you did and sign your name and your certification level to that documentation because it's a rule. All right? Trip reports need to be authenticated. That is a rule for every healthcare provider, that medical records need to be authenticated and your crews need to sign them. Not 1, 2. You got 2 crew people? 2. Now let's talk about how you can deal with that in the real world, okay? But here's what's happening, and I will show you as we go further along. This is coming back to bike providers big time in audit situations. See, we plug holes in our little dike, and then another little crack comes along, and they find us. They look for more. They have been told, there is this massive audit force that's been told to go forth and look for us. And it's not only audit, there's a lot of data analysis going on. Instead of paying and chasing money, they want to catch the problems beforehand. So signatures have gotten on the radar. So here's what you can do, all right? Make yourself a signature log. You take it on Word or you take it on Excel, and you make yourself a few columns. Column number 1, every field provider you have. Column number 2, beside their typewritten name, their EMTP, EMT basic, whatever it is they are. Column number 3, their certification number. Column number 4, have each of them signed beside their name. Column number 5, have each of them initial beside their name. Now you have a concrete record of everybody's name and signature, okay? Here's a question. What if you use an electronic patient care reporting system? and the patient, your providers have a unique login. They log into your ePCR system with their own username, their own password. That's the only way that's Joe Smith EMT-P. So if he's logged in and it identifies him uniquely, does he have to sign, is the question. My recommendation to you is yes. And the reason I recommend this to you is the regulations have yet to address electronic patient care report signatures. So if your field crews squiggle electronically and you have that sheet with everybody's name on it, you can prove who it is if it ever comes back to haunt. I have also seen where there has been a fight where Medicare has audited a provider and said, you logged in electronically, these people didn't sign. And they have gone back against Medicare and said, yes, but we have unique logins, we have unique usernames, unique password. So Joe Smith is the only one who knows what Joe Smith's login and his password is, and Joe Smith login and password changes once every 30 days, so it's got to be Joe Smith. He's the only one who would know it. I've seen that battle go on, but right now, since it's not been determined electronically that we don't need a signature because we have an electronic login, my recommendation, notice I'm not saying that's the regulation, my recommendation to you is sign. But the regs do say we need signatures.